You don't know, you damn well should know. My name is Ragreynolds and today I'm going to talk about something quite serious. I wasn't intending to make this video. In fact, today I was intending to have some sort of conspiracy or comedy video up, something a bit more entertaining, but I received a concerning message from a viewer and I want to address this, and I want to preface this by saying I'm not making this video to come off as a good guy. I've never done that before. I mean, right now I'm wearing a t-shirt that says bad guy. I do brand myself as a bad guy. I don't claim to be a beacon of morality. I don't claim to be a nice person. I never have. I expressly say that my interests are my own. I'm interested in preserving myself and pushing my name forwards. I'm above all else. I mean, I look out for number one, which is me. So I really am not doing this to try and get some brownie points, to try and say, oh, this is such a nice guy, he's a great guy. I really don't want comments like that, so please don't look at me as some sort of saint for making this video. And with that said, I want to jump into this message. Now, I'm not sure if this message is legit or if it's someone just trying to wind me up or trying to make me feel bad about something, but I'm gonna read you this message, okay? Hello, my name is Mark and I live in Melbourne, Australia. I have a 14-year-old son named Marcus. Marcus is on the autism spectrum scale, however goes to a normal school and can look after himself quite well. One of his problems is that he has very focused ideas, and once he gets something in his mind, it is very difficult to shift that thought. About 2 years ago, he watched your video regarding Australia doesn't exist, decided to agree with it 100%, and has now this thought looping around his head. I spoke to him about it at the time and he couldn't shift the thought, so I decided that it didn't really matter as he would grow out of it. Unfortunately, now this thought dominates everything in his life and he has begun self-harming if anyone even mentions Australia. He is now having suicidal thoughts over the issue. We now have him under the care of a psychiatrist, but we are not making any progress. Now, I have watched your videos and I found some parts of them quite funny. I am not sure, however, that one of the consequences of your videos was to see teenagers like Marcus contemplating suicide. It is tearing our whole family apart. I am literally begging you to make Marcus understand that Australia does exist and that this was just a joke. I don't mind if you keep your videos going. Good luck to you. I am not even sure how to go about this, but I'm asking you for your help. My email is or you can contact me on here. Please help us. Thank you, Mark. Now that's a lot to process. When I first read this, my initial thought was one of skepticism. I'm a skeptical person. I've seen people fake things like this before. I've seen people fake horrible things. I've known people who have faked their own suicides online, who have faked self-harming, lots of things like that. So it is very possible this is fake. However, it is also very possible that this is true, this is real. But regardless, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. Regardless of this instance, whether it's true or false, or whether it's real or fake, I want to address a few things specifically. Marcus, or anyone else who is watching videos and questioning whether or not Australia is real, I'm not going to answer that question again in this video, okay? I'm not going to answer whether Australia is real or not, because that is irrelevant. What matters is, it's just something that I've said. Just because some guy on the internet from another country says something, that doesn't make it true. I've made numerous videos on the subject, and my last video on the subject I actually said I was going to back off of the theory because the strong piece of evidence I had turned out to be false. It wasn't a real piece of evidence. I was fooled. So going by that alone, that should dissuade you from believing everything, hopefully. That was in my video I Was Wrong. I explained that, so feel free to go and watch that. That's that part. And self-harming, suicide, that's never the answer. Never. Never. What does self-harming accomplish? Imagine Australia is fake, okay? Say it is fake and everything I've said is 100% correct. What does self-harming accomplish? I don't see what it accomplishes at all. What does suicide accomplish? It doesn't accomplish anything, and I know it's hard for people who are in a certain place to sometimes get things into their head. I mean, I've been a very depressed person for years and years and years of my life. I have mental health issues of my own, but I've never been someone who has thought of self-harming or suicide, and I guess that's fortunate for me that I've never gone down that path. But what I tell myself, and maybe this is helpful to some people, maybe it's not helpful at all, maybe it's just me being ignorant on the subject, but what I tell myself in regards to suicide, I mean self-harm is a different thing, but suicide, I think to myself, I would rather be alive and have something than nothing, and it comes from my belief that there is no afterlife. And I think it might be much different. This same thought process probably does not apply. It does not work if you believe there is an afterlife, if you believe you can be reincarnated. It probably doesn't work. But for me, I don't believe there's anything. So for me, I think when I die, there is nothing. And I would rather have something than nothing. I think to myself, even if 23 hours out of my 24-hour day are shit, at least I might have 1 hour where I get to enjoy my favourite TV show. At least I might have 30 minutes of my day where I get to have a nice meal, a nice bottle of wine, a nice drink. Maybe I'll get enjoyment out of an interaction with someone I like. Even if it's only 10 minutes out of my day, 5 minutes out of my day, a few minutes out of my day. I would much rather have those few minutes of good, those few minutes of pleasure, than never having anything ever again. And I am willing to take all the pain and all the bad that comes with only having maybe that few minutes of pleasure. But at least I'm having something rather than nothing. And I know that maybe I sound ignorant. I know a lot of people would say, oh well, if everything's bad, I would rather not have anything at all. You don't understand, you're not in this pain. And okay, those are fair points. But I'm just saying that's how my mind works when I think I would rather have something than nothing. And that's what keeps me going. As far as self-harm goes, I'll not bullshit you. I don't understand it at all, because I've never been there, and I'm sure if you've not been there, you probably don't understand it. So I'm not going to sit here and try and give you advice. All I can say is do your best to stop, try and find other ways to cope with it, speak to someone. But that's not something that I personally can really give much advice on, because I don't understand it at all. Coming back to this point of this 14-year-old Marcus, if he is autistic, I know how autism is. I know people with autism. I have people in my family who have autism, and I know that you can get very fixed on ideas, and if someone starts doing something to themselves, it is very hard to move them from that. So I think it is a different issue again. It's even your traditional ways of coping with self-harm or suicide are different when it comes to someone with autism, because their mind works differently. And so Marcus, I would say directly to you, please listen to me, that it's not the answer. And maybe I'm a fool right now, maybe Marcus isn't a real person, maybe this is all a lot of nonsense and I'm just looking like a fool here, but I'm going out on a whim because I think it's an important subject. And if I look like a fool, okay, I look like a fool and I was duped. I just want to make it very clear to Marcus, if he's a real person, that no, that's not something you should be doing. Please watch my I Was Wrong video about Australia. Watch all of the videos before you come to your own conclusions. Watch other videos on my channel for more context to see about me. I do encourage you to listen to alternative viewpoints and not just me. And I'm trying to be very careful with what I say here, but I think I've said what I wanted to say to the best of my ability, I think, and I think I should maybe stop now because I'm probably getting a bit rambly. But yeah, I thought this was an important video to make, and I apologise actually. I don't normally apologise, I'm against apologies, but I'm not looking into the camera properly because the sun's right there, and it just, as I say that, it moves more over, and that's why we need to blow up the sun, you know. I go back to my video, we need to blow up the sun. Don't just take one person's word for anything. Always listen to alternative viewpoints, get the full context. You see the sun, it's, what are you doing? It knows I'm onto it, it knows I want to blow it up. I need to shut my eyes. I've got very sensitive eyes. You know, I had an eye test about 9 years ago or something, and they told me that anytime I go outside in the daylight I should wear sunglasses. That's how sensitive my eyes are. I can't even look into the sky. Even when it's a cloudy day, I can't look up into the sky. My eyes just nip in water. It's horrible. But yeah, back on subject, just to end this video. Suicide, self-harm. What does that accomplish? Just because some guy in Scotland is telling you that Australia is not a real place. But what do I know? Until next time, you're all welcome, society.
There is a man called Rag Reynolds. He has